Hey everyone, welcome back to the Sagey Bard podcast, where we discuss business, finance, health and wealth, and social issues with a unique perspective. Today we're going to be talking about Tesla versus the world. Actually, it's Tesla versus Rivian.
Right now it is.
I mean, when you have, we're going to get into some articles, but when you have 70 employees leave Tesla to go to Rivian, it's Tesla. I mean, it's huge. That's a huge issue.
It seems like Elon Musk is taking offense to having his employees poached by Rivian.
He's not really liking it. Guys, we're going to take this all the way back to 2014, okay? Article, ABC News. I'll put this on the screen. What does billionaire Elon Musk have to gain from giving away Tesla's patents? Very interesting. And you know what? At surface level, we were just discussing this. We were actually laughing about this. At surface level, it's like, wow, how nice of him. What a nice guy.
He is he is definitely a PR man. You know, P.T. Barnum once said, "Any publicity is good publicity."
For sure.
And from smoking marijuana and other things to giving away free patents, Elon Musk has been very successful as a PR man.
He's great. I mean, we're going to get into this a little bit, like what Tesla is, what he made it, and his brand, who he is, and how his brand is shifting. I think some of his dark side starting to come out. It's starting to be revealed a little bit, and we're going to get into that.
Well, it's interesting, in 2014 when he originally said that he was giving away Tesla patents, it made him seem like he was very altruistic. He was just saying, you know what, here, everyone share this because I believe in the environment. And now if you actually listen to him, he talks about the environment, but he is definitely not as green as he made himself out to be initially.
He's not as green. He is a businessman, and we're gonna see that today if you haven't noticed that already. All right, so ABC News article. I'm going to read a couple segments here of this article. This is from June 12, 2014. So we're taking it back.
Back when he was only worth $8.2 billion.
Only $8.2 billion, guys. I mean, poor. Just absolutely poor, I don't know why.
He was one of us.
I don't know why, I don't know why we listened to him. All right, so Tesla CEO Elon Musk, worth an estimated $8.2 billion according to Forbes, has opened up his electric car company's trove of patents. Doing so allows competing car companies like GM to use Tesla's technology for speedy and arguably sturdy electric cars. Interesting, very fascinating. Musk writes in a blog post that the company, quote, felt compelled.
From his heart.
Yeah, it's from the heart, guys, from the heart. Don't hate. Felt compelled to create patents out of concern that the big car companies would copy our technology and then use their massive manufacturing, sales, and marketing power to overwhelm Tesla. So he was afraid. Interesting. So what do you think, just off the bat, what does that tell you? So he's giving away patents because he's afraid they're going to use their manufacturing against him. But doesn't giving away your patents actually help them doesn't it speed up the process of them using their manufacturing against you?
Well, it does, but it helps him, at least in 2014, it helped him in two ways. Number one, it helped him with seeming altruistic, that he cares about the environment, and he wants to basically promote green technology.
Right.
Number one. Number two, he is giving away that technology to smaller players that might be able to innovate.
Yeah.
Because he probably always realized that Ford and Chevy were going to have to come up with something of their own because of the way he gave away this supposedly free technology or his free patents. So he made them available and they were free, but with conditions that
we're going to get into. Yeah. Matter of fact, I think we should probably, after this page, let's get into a few of them because it's going to make sense when you guys see this. Because I think I see Elon Musk's angle. I think he was doing something that is patent office, patent IP protection adjacent. It's a strategy, and it's interesting. So
yeah.
You have the article pulled up, or do you want me to pull it up? It's actually here.
So we were able to find an article explaining basically what was going on with these Tesla patents and what he was giving away. And this is from PA Legal. It's in regards to Tesla patents. So it says, "Hey, IP geek, I've heard that in 2014, Tesla made all patents public, pledging they wouldn't sue anyone using their technology in good faith. So are Tesla patents really free?" Oops.
Okay, I'll blow it back up. Good.
Okay, no, Tesla patents are not free. Read the conditions in good faith very cautiously. The Tesla pledge has 3 conditions attached to the use of Tesla patents. So everyone remember this, guys. Good faith has certain connotations or has certain requirements in this case. Those conditions, there's 3 different conditions that are attached to the free use of Tesla patents. Number 1, these conditions secure Tesla from any unauthorized third-party use.
And what is that? Okay, so what does that? All right. So what does that mean to you? Like, I have an idea of what that means, but what does that mean? Is it?
I think that you have to be notified that they're going to be using it. So it's not like, you know what, just happen to use it. It's available for everyone. You have to notify them if you're going to use it.
If you're going to use it. Now, really quickly, I see this as a power move. What they're doing, it seems like they're trying to stifle innovation in a way. Possibly.
It is. Well, at least then you know what
your
potential competitors are doing, and then you can buy them out if they are successful with anything. So you have the first opportunity to buy out and make competitors partners, kind of following John D. Rockefeller model. And let's just remember that these types of people like John D. Rockefeller and Andrew Carnegie, Cornelius Vanderbilt, they were all called robber barons. So they were robber barons for a reason.
Right.
But anyways, as you continue on, it says, anyone using Tesla's patented technology must forfeit the right of issuing a patent in the electric motor field. So that means if you use any of their free information, you can never get your own electric patent.
So once again, stifling innovation.
Correct.
So it's a way for Tesla to own you.
Yes, in a way.
In a way. So it's a power move. I mean, it's a clever move. I'm guessing his lawyers probably came up with this concept.
With 8.2, even though he was an impoverished $8.2 billion at the time,
poor guy.
He was still able to afford some of the best attorneys in the world. You know?
Right.
So when we're looking at this, I want you to realize it says, no party, it goes on to say, no party can challenge the Tesla patents, and no party can sell or market a dupe to such Tesla technology or provide assistance to any company which attempts to do so.
And so what I see this as them strengthening their IP.
Yes.
Outside of, it's a trap. It's like, here's the bait. Take this bait, and then when you take it, now it strengthens our IP, and it gives us more ways to sue you, and it stifles innovation.
Correct. And the thing is, though, it did what it was intended to do. He seemed very altruistic. It pushed green technology forward, right? And he was a hero of a lot of people in this country. In fact, Elon Musk only became the more hated person that he is today because of Twitter and the whole Donald Trump situation.
Very true. So he started losing cool points big time. We'll get into more of that a little bit later. But
to close, it's, with this PA Legal, it says, wow, those are a lot of very broad conditions. So nobody can actually use Tesla patents to make money at all. Thanks for the clarification, IP geek.
There it is. So, I mean, it's a power move. And here's the thing.
It was a great power move.
It's a great power move. But the thing is here's the thing. Legacy automakers are not stupid.
No.
They have lawyers too. This may trip up a startup company. I could see it possibly tripping up a startup company who makes mistakes with IP. And guess who they're suing now? A startup. Rivian. Rivian's up on the chopping block, but Rivian's pretty savage, though.
And that's why it took so long for a lot of these other companies, like, well, whether it was Volkswagen, you know, they were just coming out of Dieselgate, but you have Volkswagen, you have Chevy, you have Ford. All of these companies have taken a long time, but, you know, over the next 5 years, we're going to see all kinds of innovation in this field because some of these other companies have now caught up and you actually have real competition, which is breaking a monopoly.
You know, there's a lot of innovation.
And by saying monopoly, I don't mean a textbook definition of monopoly, but generally speaking.
They dominated the market, let's put it that way. But, you know, you can't really have a monopoly with a car company per se, can you? Not really.
I think that if you're arguing for a monopoly, it would be kind of analogous to when everyone was arguing that Microsoft had a monopoly, but
and it's software, and anyone can make software. But you know what? You could argue that Tesla was trying to create a monopoly through this trap.
Well, the intent of any businessman should be to try creating a monopoly,
right? And then get broken up later on.
So it's basically, if you're a businessman, the key is to create as close to a monopoly as possible while keeping your competitors subsidized or going for as long as possible so that it can't be a textbook definition of a monopoly, and then you would have government intervention.
Right. You want to straddle the line, be as close as possible, but not actually be one. And that's what you call success.
Which is why you had the partnerships you did between Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, where they were investing in each other's companies to a degree, because if Microsoft was an actual monopoly, then you would have had antitrust laws, and they would have been broken up.
They would have been broken up. Which, okay, some companies, even when broken up, still manage to have a monopolistic type effect anyway.
Correct.
But, all right, so let's get into this a little bit more. Back to the ABC News article. It says, but he writes, the unfortunate reality is the opposite. Electric car programs at the major manufacturers are small to non-existent, constituting an average of far less than 1% of their total vehicle sales. This is in reference to, you know, he's talking about the manufacturing blocks of different companies overwhelming Tesla. But Tesla's putting out numbers. I mean, they're building factories and they're putting out a lot of numbers. They're not having any issues with putting cars out. But one of the issues, like, let me give you guys a quick example. When GM was #1 for a long time with cars and selling cars, right? And when Toyota became #1, something happened with Toyota. Their quality went down a little bit. And I heard some analysts talking about it. Whenever you start to produce more of even the same product, one of the variables that's not necessarily a constant because it's human effort, human workers, the labor force. These guys get tired, they make mistakes, they work too fast, they don't tighten, you know. And they do make mistakes. They're not robots, which could be, you know, impetus for the drive for AI and more robots in doing some of those jobs that humans are doing. But Toyota started to suffer when it came to quality, which was, you know, unheard of, but that was one of the things they said being #1. So Tesla has never really had the greatest, they've always had complaints about build, and now that they're creating more cars, they're having even more complaints about quality and different things.
Yeah, their build quality is actually famously bad. I mean, that's, you know, based off of bad quality paint jobs, body panels not being aligned properly.
Not aligning. Yeah, that's a major one. And I've seen it personally.
You know, other issues that we'll get into in a little bit.
Yeah. All right, so Tesla, just to let you guys know, Tesla holds more than 200 patents. That's back in 2014. Ben Kallo, Kallo, an analyst with Robert W. Baird and Company, said Musk has a vested interest in facilitating the adoption of electric vehicles. Opening patents could help facilitate the expansion of battery charging infrastructure and ultimately create customers for Tesla's future battery.
Well, you know, and ultimately when you look at the impact, so we're talking about an article that's now 9 years old, okay? And it's an important article because we could look at now how things have played out.
Right.
And in fact, what we're talking about with making all of his patents free, no one was able to use them because you take away the motivation or the incentive, which is to make money.
Right,
okay?
right.
So now you have no ability to make money. So then what are you going to do with that patent? You're going to spend a lot of time and do what with it? Because the only person who can employ you would be Musk.
Right.
Okay? So then we look at it, and 9 years later, Elon Musk, for whatever we might say negative about him, has done the grunt work. He's built out a whole network of superchargers and charging stations, and largely he's been the impetus for any other
electric car,
for any electric car. He has,
even though Nissan was first with electric cars, but he's the serious attempt. Good.
He's the first, serious person to do this, and he should be commended because it has completely changed, well, the whole
landscape.
Yeah, the whole landscape of, the automotive industry.
All right, so guys, check this out. 2020, this is from an online publication, Electric, E-L-E-C-T-R-E-K, electric.co. And in 2020, Tesla filed a lawsuit against Rivian over allegedly stealing trade secrets by hiring former employees of Tesla and encouraging them to bring documents. Rivian has denied the allegation. So this is exactly 6 years after Elon's warm, altruistic welcome.
Yeah.
Hey guys, have some patents. But check it out. Here's the thing with the patents. There was a benefit for other car companies because what it could allow them to do is actually build out a Tesla. Okay, here's what most car manufacturers will do. They'll buy a car and benchmark it against their own, right? They'll benchmark it. So with the patents, now you can actually have your engineers build it to a T, or you can buy a car, reverse engineer it. He just literally made their jobs easier. That's all he did. But according to this article, this analyst, Ben Kalo, he said Musk has a vested interest in facilitating the adoption of electric vehicles.
Absolutely.
Because it would help out his battery charging infrastructure and ultimately create customers for Tesla's future battery. Now check this out. What's the deal that Tesla just made with all these other car manufacturers? Now, the other car manufacturers, including Rivian, can use the Tesla supercharging network.
That's in 2023.
That.
It's a separate business.
Separate business. He's making money off that. So Ben Kalo was correct that Elon Musk had a vested interest.
Well, and even when you're looking at this, like now you have all kinds of electric cars that are coming out. They're all going to be able to use the supercharging network that Tesla built out because you have Electrify America, you have some other ones, but there is nothing that competes with the Tesla superchargers at this point.
Right.
So then, and when you're looking at this within the context of other companies, for example, Rivian came out, and Rivian famously was underproducing. They have, for those of you who have not seen the Rivian trucks or SUVs, they are truly beautiful. I mean
they're nice. Yeah,
they're
really nice.
But their stock price has really been struggling. They're down from somewhere about $150 two years ago to, as of a month ago, it was less than $20 a share.
And what's interesting about that is that I wonder how much of that is being affected by this news. And we know news can affect sometimes in just the short run, but as we get into these articles, you could see that some people think Rivian might be done. Because there are some electric car manufacturers that are going belly up, but under the pressure of the weight of the environment of sales, just the capitalistic environment. But when you add the pressure of now big dog Tesla suing you, and they seem to have some pretty good evidence, as we'll get into here in a second, it seems like that might actually...
Now, since, 2020 is also a while ago too. Now you have a whole bunch of new companies jumping into that, into the electric car market. For example, now you have the Lightning trucks. The Ford Lightning.
Ford F-150 Lightning.
Then you have the Chevy Silverado that's coming out.
Right.
And while the Rivian is beautiful, and I believe that even in a worst case scenario, they would be bought out by another company.
I think so too. And wasn't Ford sort of positioning themselves to buy Rivian at one point? They made some sort of deal. I think they just wanted to take a look at their IP, to be honest, and then they backed out of the deal. I think that was a clever way of, hey, let's be friends. Look over the shoulder real quick. Okay, cool. That's what you're doing. And then, okay, we'll move on our own. Maybe Ford backed out. This isn't necessarily about Ford, but I think maybe Ford backed out because maybe their lawyers are like, whoa, this is all Tesla stuff. Maybe they saw it as maybe they saw this happening and they were like, let's get out of here. This isn't good.
The truth be told, when you're looking in these areas, you're going to hire away the engineers that spent the most time working on them. You're willing to pay them because they have experience, and it's a unique skill set working on these cars. So this is the same as in any field. Hospitals do the same thing. Institutions, schools do this. You hire away the best people. The only place that this doesn't actually work in is in a country like the United States. Like and I know this is a different topic, but where we should be doing we should be brain draining other places and hiring the best talent away.
Yeah, that's what we do. That's what the United States.
No, it doesn't. The U.S. doesn't do that.
The U.S. doesn't do brain
drain? The U.S. doesn't have skills-based immigration.
Oh, really?
We have chain migration. You have places like Canada, and that's why Canada takes in 3 times as many people per capita in terms of immigrants, because they hire based on skills that they believe their country needs. The U.S. doesn't do that nearly as much.
Oh, I thought we were all about the brain drain. I've looked at that for years.
Otherwise, we would have brain drained Hong Kong when we had a chance.
We tried.
With all those. No, we didn't. We didn't really try.
We opened the door.
Not really.
China pushed back on us. We might need to have a show on this.
Trump could have brain drained.
We might need to have a show on this. Okay, cool. This is a good topic. Yeah, it's a great topic. All right, so let me finish a little bit of this article. So at the time Tesla filed a lawsuit, it wasn't clear what extra trade secrets Tesla was claiming Rivian had stolen. But we noted that the employees listed in the lawsuits were 2 recruiters at an EHS manager and a manager of Tesla's charging networks. Interesting. The automaker claimed that these employees brought documents consisting of highly sensitive trade secrets, confidential, and proprietary engineering information when they went to work for Rivian. Now, what's interesting is, let's flash back to 2014, the first article that we just read, or the segment that we just read. Altruistic on the surface, Tesla, Elon Musk, hey, have some patents. Let's get this electric market going. 6 years later, hey, you're stealing our secrets. And the reason why is because maybe the mindset of, hey, have some patents, maybe it was like, oh yeah, let's take some documents. Maybe these employees were like, hey, well, he's giving it away, so maybe we'll just take this with us. Maybe he opened up the door and screwed himself in that way. Or
ultimately, it really doesn't matter because he's going to be able to use some of that, I don't know, 175 billion that he's down to right now to diversify into a lot of different businesses.
Oh yeah, he's taking off.
So
all right, so continuing on, a year later, Tesla expanded the lawsuit, claiming more specifically that Rivian is stealing the core technology for its next generation batteries. Now, what's interesting is Tesla's not suing anyone else that I know of. It's just Rivian at the moment, and they've been in this lawsuit for a while. 2014 is when this kind of, they started suing.
I think 2020.
2020, and then so 3 years on.
But the reason was in 2020, Rivian was the only other manufacturer that had another product that was kind of a newer electric vehicle that was coming out.
Okay.
So then, presumably, any other company that has built anything like smaller company would be using a lot of Tesla's engineers or poaching employees, which, it's been done since the beginning of time. Poaching employees is good for business. It is. It spreads out. It spreads information so that those people can go to different companies, train other people, and you can facilitate whatever changes in the industry are going to happen much sooner.
That's true. Look at, if you guys notice, look at Kia and Hyundai. They poached people from BMW and Audi. Yeah. Matter of fact, one of the key architects of the M project for BMW works for Kia now, or Hyundai, works for Hyundai. And if you look at the interiors on a lot of these Kias, they have, and Hyundais, they kind of have a BMW-esque type interior, which is really, really fascinating. So that's what poaching gets you sometimes. So let's, real quick, get back to, let's get to some of these questions. So first question is Elon Musk being altruistic? I think we sort of answered that. Guys, let us know what you think in the comments, what you think about that. I personally think it's a giant trap.
I think he's being strategically altruistic. I mean, I really do think that he's kind of in two places. He wants electrical or electric vehicle technology to move forward because he makes more money on it. And at this point, as long as it moves forward, more people are going to be wanting to charge at his superchargers. And he's got the best infrastructure for that. And that might actually produce more money in the long run because he's also hugely invested in solar panel technology. And if those solar panel fields are powering his superchargers, then it becomes free money almost.
Yeah, I mean,
he basically owns America's future gas stations, and they're all over the place.
That's true. That's true. I think his next move is to. I think the best move would be to try to get into creating power, owning power companies. That would be a move, especially like in California, where all the Teslas, where the majority of Teslas are. Have a power company in California, like with your solar tech.
Well, you probably want to stay away from power companies, just because then you have California government that's going to be involved in saying you have a racket or you have a monopoly, and they're going to start interfering with the prices. Because even though these are, for example, Pacific Gas and Electric, SoCal Edison, people don't realize that these are all private companies. Yeah. They think that they are, government organizations, but they aren't.
They're not.
And that's why your tiers keep on changing with SoCal Edison, and why you're paying so much more. Like, they're always changing every year.
All right, were the 2014 patents at that time old tech that he didn't mind offloading? Guys, we're going to get into that question after the break. We will be right back. All right, guys, we're back from the break. And just to kind of recap that last question, were the 2014 patents held at that time old tech that he didn't mind offloading? That's another strategy. I think maybe, hey guys, look at this over here. Here's the cool stuff. Come get some of this free stuff. Everybody runs to that. Meanwhile, he's getting ready to launch next generation, right?
Yeah.
Something completely different direction. It's maybe like a diversion.
Well, and the battery technology, because that's what we're talking about here specifically, is battery technology.
Right.
Battery technology has advanced so much over the last 9 years. I mean,
exactly.
Where it's gone from, I don't know, it was 160 miles to now we're at 300 miles with the extended range Teslas, or maybe a little more.
We have some car companies that are now talking about 600 miles.
Yeah, and that might be with the bigger vehicles like the Silverado, or
bigger vehicles
because they have a bigger kind of skateboard to
more space to
attach all these batteries on.
It's interesting because I early on kind of noticed this the differences between, let's say, back in the 70s, the big boats that we used to make in America, 70s, 80s, big boats. Big boat, bad gas mileage. Even though you had a big gas tank, still bad gas mileage, right? Now, big boat, big heavy 9,000-pound boat, more batteries, more range.
Yeah.
So it's incentivizing bigger cars again, which is cool. I like big cars. I think that's cool.
Well, they keep you alive when people are driving at 80 miles an hour. So I encourage people to get a bigger car.
Yeah.
I mean, especially for your family and loved ones,
Especially with 9,000-pound Hummers about to hit the road.
Yeah.
Goodness. Can you imagine getting hit by a 9,000-pound Hummer moving at 80?
Well, also think about it in terms of how heavy a battery is. So if you're getting hit by one of these electric cars, you want to at least have a bigger ICE car, because that's a lot more
It's going to cause a lot of damage.
It'll kill you.
Yeah, I did see some articles about that. People were kind of worried about the size of these vehicles and the damage it's going to cause to cars and to human life. The human
well, let's
toll
say even if you have a Tesla Model 3 that's hitting, let's say a Hyundai Sonata, just a regular...
3 is much heavier, yeah.
Yeah, they're about the same size, but...
How much heavier? I don't know the exact stats. We can look it up real quick.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, we'll look that up real quick while we get into the next... let's do this real quick. So, what is it?
A Tesla Model 3 versus...
Tesla Model 3 weight.
Yeah.
Let's do dry weight. And then we're going to continue talking about this diversionary tactic that Musk is doing. So, the Model 3 is... Here's electric. I'm seeing some numbers of 3,500 pounds.
Well, that's not too bad.
Hold on, that's about what I used to have a Dodge Challenger, and come on, man. These guys are being ridiculous. All right, so the Model 3 for 3,580 pounds. Okay. Then you mentioned what other model?
And then that goes up to 4,000 pounds with the long range.
With the dual motor, so 4,000 pounds. Now, a Dodge Challenger is about 3,800 pounds.
Oh, that's not too bad.
It's not too bad. But the Challenger is a big car.
That's a big car.
It's a big, long car compared to a Model 3. So the Model 3, it's really like a size of a Sentra, if you really want to be honest. But it's the weight of a Dodge Challenger. All right, so what was the other car that we mentioned?
Let's say a Hyundai Sonata.
All right,
Hyundai Sonata is 3,100 to 3,500 pounds, at least a 2023.
So the Model 3 is about as... Okay, but... All right.
The lightest Model 3 is as heavy as the heaviest
full-size car
model, the heaviest Hyundai Sonata.
Okay, so...
It's quite a bit heavier.
It's heavier, but I don't think... When I was reading the articles about the concerns about weight and insurance costs and death toll, they were talking more about the SUVs. That's where the problem is. The SUVs are heavy.
Yeah.
So for instance, the new Hummer EV, let's see what that weighs. Because I think that's around 9,000 pounds.
I don't think it can be that heavy.
Dude, it's heavy. It is heavy. Trust me. I've watched a couple of, and it's ridiculously heavy. Here, let's take a look at this website. So when you have, that's like double. Yeah,
9,000 pounds.
9,000 pounds. So that's double that Model 3. That's more than double.
That's more than double the heaviest Model 3.
Yeah, so that's like being hit by a commercial vehicle. I mean, that's
why you get that tax break.
Yeah, that's true. You know what? They might adjust that tax break when vehicles start getting.
I mean,
they might start adjusting that because I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, just looking at the weight and stuff in old tech. So anyway, I think this is a.
But that is something important for people to be cognizant that these electric vehicles in general are heavier, considerably heavier.
They're heavier, and it's going to cause some issues. And then don't mention the fires. But anyway, let's get back on track. And is the lawsuit proving that the next gen tech was what they were really counting on? Now, when it comes to the lawsuit, I think they're serious about this lawsuit because I think personally there's stuff in there that Musk hasn't patented yet.
Yeah.
I believe he's like, this is cutting edge stuff they're still working on that they haven't fully patented. That's why he's so serious about this. And he has to stop them because if they make it to market first with technology that he hasn't fully patented, so he has to prove that they stole it first, right? Once he can prove that they stole it, then his IP is safe. But if he can't prove it, dude, those guys can make off with Tesla tech. Truthfully, truth be told. So
here's a really interesting explanation I found on patents for those of you who don't know. And this is from a website called IP Watchdog. And the title of the article was, "Don't be fooled by his patent purge. Elon Musk is just another hypocritical tech billionaire. But they had a really good description of patents. It says, patents are a trade with the government. The investor agrees to disclose the invention to the public in exchange for a limited exclusive right to the invention. No one else can make, use, sell, or import the invention without the investor's or the inventor's permission. The public interest is served because the invention is publicly disclosed, so anyone can improve the invention and patent that advancement, and anyone can design around it and patent that invention. If the invention has commercial value, no doubt many people will jump in and out and do one or both.
Right.
So what basically Musk is doing, like we said earlier, is he's trying to game the system,
Right.
where you can't actually benefit from whatever advancement you make,
Right.
using his patents.
His tech, yeah. But I think, like I said earlier, legacy automakers have great lawyers. They have great IP lawyers and researchers. They have the money for that. Startups, maybe not so much.
Yeah.
And hence why we're having some trouble with Rivian in this situation, which is a startup.
What you could ultimately do is try buying them out. It's just like, I
think that's the next thing.
Basically pummel them with a bunch of lawsuits until they have to
forfeit,
and
then buy them out.
and then just buy them out.
I think that's the smartest move, and I think that might be his strategy. I think he might be trying to tie them up in the legal system.
It's a textbook strategy.
Yeah, it's a textbook strategy. Now, speaking of textbook strategies, I was telling Seiji last night when we were getting ready for the show that I've done some patent stuff. I've attempted to patent a few things, and I've done, I've been first, funny enough, on some ideas when it comes to patents. I've had some international patents searches done for me with patent agencies. The thing is that big companies like Tesla according to this patent attorney, will deliberately violate, and Apple does this too.
Yeah.
They will violate patents of smaller companies who aren't as profitable, go to the boxing ring, the courts, fight it out, and whoever's got the most stamina, cash to pay lawyers, wins. And
they can then buy you for pennies on the dollar.
And they can buy you. So it really is an unfair system that benefits the rich, honestly. Let's just be honest. Mm-hmm. And that's the game. And it's a messed up game, and the little guy most likely will lose unless it's just extremely egregious. Look at Facebook. Look at what Mark Zuckerberg did to the Winklevoss twins. I read his text messages years ago, maybe 10, 12 years ago. I read the text messages. He was gloating about that he was stealing the idea, pretty much. And he was asking someone, am I being too much of a prick? That's not the word he used for doing this. And he stole the business. And he's made billions now. And those guys made some money. They made maybe $1 billion or so off of the, you remember what they made off of what they made? We can look it up real quick. It's not super important. But ultimately, he ran off with the bag. He ran off with the money.
Those of you guys watching, this is eventually how you have, like, presidents of companies or founders of companies that get ousted. So just like the Green Goblin in the first Spider-Man, he got really upset and he went crazy. And this is actually what happens with some of these founders. They've invested so much of their life and time into their projects that, especially with males, you can't differentiate the man who founded their business from their business.
Right.
It takes a real huge emotional, mental toll.
It really does. And I think these guys, I mean, in the end, okay, so what I know we're getting sidetracked here, but so Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook and the Winklevoss twins, who are billionaires now off of, they were bound to be billionaires. What's funny, real quick? I met a guy who went to Harvard at the time when Facebook, I met him overseas actually, when Facebook was actually, when it was called something else. I think it was called
Yearbook or something?
Lookbook or something, something else. But I remember, I met this guy and he remembers when it was starting on campus. So he was at Harvard. But they made, I don't remember exactly how much money they made. I want to say it was 65 million or something like that.
Well, and they invested wisely in other projects. I think they were involved with like crypto.com or Gemini or something like that.
They became billionaires with their crypto, with Bitcoin. This article's not getting to the point, but what did they, let's see what they made. All right, real quick, let's go ahead and move on while this is pulling up. Maybe you could take a look at this while I...
Yeah.
So one of the things, I'm going to go ahead and read from another source called Tesla Rati. You guys may have seen this, Tesla R-A-T-I. This article is by Joey Klender, K-L-E-N-D-E-R. Tesla is heading to court against former employees who joined rival automaker Rivian in the lawsuit that claims they breached NDA, non-disclosure agreements related to trade secrets. People violate NDAs all the time, okay? And maybe Rivian, allegedly, maybe this was part of the strategy, playing the patent game. Yeah. Come over here, we'll protect you, we'll pay your legal bills, but just come over here. We'll drag it out for a few years. In the meanwhile, we'll get our trucks out, we'll get sales up, we'll pay whoever. That could have been the strategy, but that's a risky strategy for a little guy.
It is. You have
sort
to,
of risky.
I mean, but again, with the way the courts are set up, the courts are going to be bought out by other, I mean, I don't want to say that, but...
Allegedly.
Yeah. The thing is, the whole rest of the automotive industry is trying to go at Tesla as well. So then it becomes one of those, it's almost like eminent domain. Is it in the public good? And what will the courts do at that point? Are they going to, I mean, can we trust that the courts are going to say, well, you know what, this was actually stolen property? Or is it in the interest of the public for this to become more widely disseminated? And so we're going to just say, well, you know what, there's just enough gray area that we're just going to let it go. So there is a huge risk.
There's risk, but
yeah.
This is a business risk. This is what companies do. And it's interesting to see these battles that play out with IP. You know, I'm still not getting some solid numbers here on the Winklevoss guys, but it looks like they got some Facebook stock.
It looks like they got about $20 million in cash and Facebook stock, and this was a long time ago. And that had grown, at least at the time of this article, the stock value is worth about $150 million.
Which is great.
Which is, yeah, but
150 million.
And who knows what those guys would have done with it? Because there's a chance Zuckerberg actually took it in a different direction that has brought a lot of joy to people, especially older people who now use Facebook, and been able to help the Russians and other governments and tech people who've wanted to influence and manipulate
elections.
Elections, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a good thing. It's great for democracy, That's how you spread American democracy. Influencing overseas elections in Kenya and other places.
Or even here.
Yeah, or here. It's great. It's wonderful. I love it.
Because otherwise, people would have probably known about Hunter's Crack Edition.
Right. It's great for suppressing information too, which is awesome. I love that. All right, so the judge did grant the employee's request for a ruling on the claim by Tesla that they accused company computers illegally. They accessed the computers illegally to copy and steal important data, according to Bloomberg. All right. Tesla stated in a complaint that misappropriating Tesla's competitively useful confidential information when leaving Tesla for a new employer is obviously wrong and risky. Oh, so Elon Musk is on so he's moved from fake altruism to
morality.
Morality. He's very moral.
He cares about ethics and morality.
Oh, wow. Yeah. We're going to get into some. Let's see how moral Elon Musk is. Interesting. All right, before we get to that, we're going to read a little bit more. It is also claimed that Rivian has hired at least 70 former employees. Wow.
Well, I mean, it makes sense.
It's a small number.
It is a small number.
It's only 70.
Well,
what's he worried about?
When you're trying to build an electric car company, even now, 2023, you're going to go poach people from Tesla and Rivian.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I would do. If I had the money to do it, I would start there because They have a lot of know-how that I want to buy.
I mean, yeah, exactly. And 70, all right, let's just say this. Poaching 70 employees is an admission that Tesla has something that we want.
Exactly.
Why else would you hire 70 former Tesla employees? Why else? Obviously, what they're trying to do is get around the NDA as much as possible, get around the patents as much as possible, and hopefully they can find some cracks that they can slide in.
And honestly, I don't really see much wrong with that. You got to do what you've got to do. I mean, and you find and buy that experience.
Right. All right, so let's say, so they hired at least 74 former employees, some of which were caught red-handed stealing information related to technology and next-gen batteries. Interesting. Additionally, CEO Elon Musk said during the interview in 2020 that Rivian was, quote, doing bad things. So he sued them. Oh, really? Doing bad things?
Well,
interesting.
It's unfortunate when people do bad things.
Interesting. Doing bad things. All right, let's get into some conversation here. Guys, let us know what you think in the comments. Question, and leave us a like, please. Would a former Tesla engineer try to, quote, sweeten the deal of prospective employment with another company? Is it far-fetched to accept that? Now, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say, if I'm trying to get a job with another car company, hey, I work for Tesla. That's something you put on your resume. Hey, I had access, in the interview, off the record, I had access to information.
Well, I know a lot.
I know a lot.
Yeah.
You got to sell yourself.
Yeah.
Anything wrong with selling yourself? Can you see anything wrong with that?
One of the things that we would always talk about in business is Americans are really good at selling themselves. Even if they don't know how to do something, they're like, well, I'm the best.
Right.
You compare that with someone from Korea or Japan or China, they're going to be like, even if they were the head of a department, let's say for electrical cars, they'd be like, I don't know, but I know a little about that. A
little bit more modest.
I could look into it, and they might actually know everything about it. But an American is going to be like, an intern, he's be like, oh yeah, I know everything about that. I was the best.
I wonder if that's a component of Western capitalism. Just
it is.
We're selling everything. Might as well sell ourselves.
You have to sell yourself.
You have to sell yourself to get ahead.
Because there's also very little loyalty between companies in the U.S., which is also the point of a movie like Speed, which is unbelievably almost 30 years old.
Speed, one with the bus?
Yeah. Because what happened in that movie is the guy was upset about losing his job and getting a gold watch. And so he tied the watch to the bomb that he put on the bus.
Oh, forgot the plot.
It was dealing with
the
changing of corporate employment in the United States from basically comparing it with the 1950s and 60s and the 1980s and early 90s.
Very interesting. All right, so 70 employees left Tesla and no one shared information? What would be Rivian's... Why would Rivian... Put it this way.
Wait a minute, then are you saying that Rivian is saying no one shared information, or is Tesla saying that no one told them they were leaving?
I'm just saying in general, like no one shared information. Like it's a kind of a not a reflect, like it's
rhetorical.
Not a yeah, it's like rhetorical.
It's not possible. It's not possible.
I don't think anyone. I mean, they just hired 70 employees for no reason.
The reason you hire a 35 or 40-year-old as opposed to a 22-year-old fresh out of college is because, as bright as a 22-year-old is, he has no experience. The 40-year-old you're hiring because they have experience and they've learned under someone else's dime.
Exactly.
And now you're going to benefit from that. The reason you hire a 65-year-old as a consultant is because they've seen it all.
Right. Let me argue this. Let me argue against my initial point. There aren't many players in the game there aren't any other players in the game with as much experience as Tesla. Now, theoretically, Nissan Leaf was the first mass-produced legacy at that EV, the Leaf, but it sucked. But it was first. It was number one. And it shows that legacy could do it. But, legacy, I mean, we can get into the reasons why they don't see reasons to do it, why they want to do it, but let's just put it this way. Legislators lit a fire under legacy automakers in terms of we're going to do away with ICE engines, internal combustion engines. We're going to do away with ICE vehicles. So they had to do it now. So now we're going to start to see the real competition. But you going to say something?
Well, I was going to go on a tangent, but it makes no sense to get rid of ICE vehicles when so much of what we do is benefiting another country that we are technically at odds at right now. So,
well, I mean that's a fair point. All right, so let's get back to the question of, so we've moved from Tesla being altruistic, fake altruism, fake, oh, we care, this is lovely, let's save the earth, green, giving out fake patents to try to trap companies because they knew the competition was coming, so they set out bait. Now they're claiming bad practice on a part of Rivian. Interesting. So one would think Tesla is the good guy in all this, right?
Yep.
Interesting. This just hits the news, what, last week? Tesla lands in hot water after new report alleges the company told a huge long-term lie about its vehicles. Pun definitely intended. So here's what happened. Not only, let me expand this a little bit. Tesla has been accused of several unethical business practices over the years. The latest, according to a new, extensively reported piece from Reuters, is that the electric vehicle company misled consumers, oh no, their own customers, about the battery range of its cars. Guys,
how
listen,
dare you?
How dare you? Greta, where are you? How dare you? Not only that, but according to the report, Tesla also created an entire secret diversion team.
So it's like the Dieselgate of electric cars.
The Dieselgate of electric cars. But wait, there's more. They created a diversion team to thwart customers who complained about the issue.
Well, there's no better way of getting the problem to go away than making your customers seem like they're delusional.
There you go. Great business practice. All right, so here. So now this is in, the article continues, it starts to talk about range anxiety. One of the #1 things people were complaining about with electric cars is what?
Range.
Range anxiety. So what did they do? Hey, let's lie to people to get them to buy our vehicles, and then they'll have real range anxiety later on. So check this out. So range anxiety is the fear that your electric vehicle could run out of battery in between charging stations, leaving you stranded. I think that's fair. That's a fair, worry.
Huge fear.
It's a fair worry. No one likes towing costs, right? All right, so let's move on. So check this out, guys. Blow this up a little bit. To combat this consumer fear, EV makers have managed to develop efficient and reliable batteries that can hold hundreds of miles worth of charge. That's what we were sold, right? But Tesla apparently went one step further, advertising range estimates that were not based in reality, going as far to rig the range estimating software within its car. Allegedly. This is per Reuters, okay? Not per us.
Yeah.
Allegedly. I'm going to continue on with the article. It says, per Reuters, quote, a person familiar with an early design of the software for its in-dash readout said that Tesla's range meter would show rosy projections for how far a car could travel on a full battery. Then, once the battery fell to under 50% charge, the projection would switch to a realistic number. Guys, are you paying attention? So as to avoid actually leaving drivers stranded with an empty battery. Oh, back to altruism.
Yep.
We're going to lie to you, but we're going to make sure we don't lie to you too hard to where you get stranded.
Well,
let's talk about the actual numbers before we...
yeah.
So get this... So, all right, real quick, go ahead. Your comment? Before you forget.
Well, no, I'll get to the numbers.
Yeah, the numbers
are fascinating.
The numbers are rich. However, drivers who noticed the abrupt switch thought something was wrong with their cars and scheduled service appointments. That's where the diversion team came in.
It's okay, you're delusional.
Yeah, you're not really...
It didn't happen.
You're not really seeing that. That's just... It's all in your mind. All right, so I don't have the numbers up on here, but here's what was happening. What was that drop in range?
26%.
26%.
Imagine if you had 200 miles of range, and then suddenly you're at 150 miles of range. I mean, that's a huge difference.
And they did it when a car got to 100. They did it when the car got to 50%. So let's say you have theory 200 miles. So when you got to 100 miles, now you lose 26% off of the 100 miles.
And you're stuck.
Which puts you in a desperate situation. You're on a road trip. Let's say you're on a road trip, right?
But it could get you more money if you own the supercharging network, right? I mean,
hey, this is incredible.
I mean, I think the more frustrating scenario would be trying to get to the airport, and you think you have enough range when you start, and then you're stuck at LAX.
Oh, guys,
you're stuck before you get to LAX.
We're gonna be right back with those range. I have the numbers. We'll be right back. All right, guys, we are back, and we're gonna give you those numbers. So now, we've already told you that Tesla misled people, consumers, letting them believe the range was something that it wasn't, and we now know that it was a 26. I can't get that number. I can't wrap my brain around that.
Plaintiffs allege that Tesla falsely advertised the ranges of its cars and grossly overvalued the range when selling them to customers. In some instances, stating ranges that were 26% more than the actual average range. That's unreal.
Let me ask you, like, if you bought a Tesla and
that's before you have your air conditioner on or have additional people in the car, because then it might be a lot
now
more.
You're really screwed.
Yeah, because you might have 200 miles of advertised range, but you might only really be at about 125.
And you know what? I've been seeing little things online about the range not being accurate from people, but now it's being confirmed. Well, this is going to be a massive lawsuit.
Range is already problematic on electric vehicles, and it's not just for Tesla. But for electric vehicles, it's a problem in very hot environments and very cold environments.
Yeah.
Because when you're running the heater or the AC, it's draining that battery super quickly.
Let's say this. Okay. If you're and guys, let us know what you think about this in the comments. Let's start a discussion up. If you are, guys, let me ask you directly. If you're a customer, if you own a Tesla, let us know what you think in the comments. If you're a Tesla owner, but let's say you bought a Tesla. Well,
let us know what your actual range is and your experiences. We want to hear from you because, ultimately, I don't have a Tesla. I've test driven one, and when I did, I made a 4-mile loop, but I lost 8 miles of range on the car.
That's insane.
And I was driving a little fast. I mean, I was going about maybe 75, 80, but that's still not really, crazy fast.
Let's say you own a Tesla. Here's the advertised range. Let's say they advertise 250, right? Mm-hmm. You got your AC on, you got everything on, you got your music turned up. This is funny because I've heard comedians joke about this. Like when your gas tank's on E, people will turn off the fan, turn off the radio, thinking that somehow. But with gas cars, thinking that, oh God, I need to make it like this will help me out if I turn off the radio, turn off the fan, turn off the AC, everything.
Yeah.
Well, turning off the AC does help, but turning off the radio does nothing. But in a Tesla, it does something because it's battery. Yeah. Your radio can affect, and don't have a big sound system.
That's where you have your AirPods in, and you have your phone.
Oh my goodness! You could probably hook your external battery pack up to your Tesla and probably get another mile out of it. But here's what's funny. Let's say you're a customer. Let's say you guys are a customer. Buy Tesla. Let's say they advertise 250, but let's say you only get 230 out of it. How pissed are you?
I think that's acceptable.
Not too pissed, right? Because technically a lot of ICE.
Just to give you an idea, when you're looking at even regular ICE cars, the EPA estimates are made on a really smooth road or track that's completely level,
right?
And it's at 55 miles an hour at maybe 70 degrees, 65 degrees, so that everything is as optimal as you can get.
It's in a wind tunnel.
Yeah, and
vacuum, no air,
yeah,
no friction.
With low rolling resistance tires, you know, the whole nine. So then I'm not gonna, if you're losing 20 miles, but the thing is, if you're living in Alberta, where I went to college in the winter, there's no way you're going anywhere without the heater on.
Yeah, and you're not getting that advertised range at all because it sucks more power. So let's say this real quick. Let me sidetrack just real quick before we have our talking points up on the screen. If you guys are familiar with the Nürburgring track, you're familiar with the Nürburgring, the green hell mile or whatever they call it, the North Shelf or North Track, whatever. I forgot the other nicknames. In Germany, testing ground, proving ground for automotive performance, where all cars are benchmarked. Tesla brought their P100D, their Plaid model out. 3 motors, over 1,000 horsepower. They put Michelin Cup racing tires on the back, and they put a wing for downforce on the back of the car. And then they ran the track, and then they advertised those numbers. That's deception. When they sell you that P100D, you're not getting a big spoiler that's going to give you 500 pounds of downforce. I just made that number up. You're not going to get Michelin Cup 300, I don't know how wide they are, 350 on the back of your Tesla. They are used to misleading people. They use propaganda to sell cars.
They do, but again, we have to be careful because Tesla might be doing a little more, but ICE manufacturers do the same thing. Just a slightly different thing, but everyone is lying to you.
Yeah, but here's the thing. So Tesla didn't start getting desperate until Porsche got in the game when it came to performance. One of the Porsche Taycan actually beat the Tesla on the track.
Wow.
And obviously Tesla made a name for itself benchmarking itself against ICE vehicles. So here comes Porsche, whose bread and butter is the 911 Turbo. Here they come, and they take issue with Tesla doing this, so they get into the EV game, and then they beat them at their own game. Tesla's desperate now because this is their one-trick pony. Let's benchmark our cars against ICE vehicles. And now here, ICE vehicle legacy. See, this is an assault. It was an assault on legacy automakers, Porsche, Ford, everyone else. So now that they got these other guys interested, these guys are okay. We'll play ball. They jump in, and they start beating them at their own game. And now you've got Lucid. You guys know Lucid? Lucid is another story very similar to Rivian in that Lucid has former Tesla employees who started Lucid, and now they have a car which destroys the P100D from Tesla in a straight line.
Like 500 miles of range or something too.
And it's got more range.
Yeah. It's not affordable.
It's not affordable, but the image of Tesla being this super unbelievable, man, this is amazing. No one can touch these guys. They built this cult. We're going to get into that in a little bit. Who is Tesla? What did Elon Musk do with Tesla? Yeah. They built this cult. Now it's like when, to make a war reference, when the Americans, when we defeated Japan in the war, they made the emperor come down and walk amongst the commoners to prove that he was a normal human being. To remove the veneer, this image of we're untouchable. Tesla's getting destroyed now in almost every metric, except for they're still selling the most cars because they've created a cult, and we're going to get into that.
Yeah.
All right, so let me ask you this. How would you view 26%? Because I view 26% drop as malicious.
That's not acceptable.
I view it as malicious. Well, now, let's get into the mindset of Musk. Because apparently, allegedly, according to some articles, allegedly, this is what they say, not what we say, he signed off on this. Where do you put Musk in terms of a person? So we started off with altruism. Hey, have some patents, free for all.
Musk is definitely...
To what we're looking at now.
He's a control freak. And a lot of CEOs are. But you know, he probably has plausible deniability in some way that the engineering team did what they had to do, and it's highly unlikely that they did it without knowing. But, you know, going with war examples, after World War II, the German generals and other government leaders basically said, we're not at fault for World War II. It was all Hitler. We just followed orders. And for the first time in human history, we had a war crimes trial, the Nuremberg trials. Mm-hmm. They were tried, and a lot of them were executed. But justice was, in a lot of ways, meted out during that Nuremberg trial.
Right.
What happens here is something that would be analogous when people say, well, I didn't do it, it was Musk's fault, or do we blame Musk, or do we blame a lot of these other people? Are they culpable along with him?
I think it falls back on the CEO. It always does. CEO can't claim ignorance. You're a CEO. How are you ignorant?
So then do we then exonerate the people that actually...
No, they're all in it. That's where we have the word complicit. Mm-hmm. Complicity. You're all complicit. You're all in on it. This is your bad business practice.
Well, I mean, I guess...
And maybe this is why guys were leaving Tesla for Rivian. Because they were like, he's dirty. We're leaving. We don't care.
You know, their reward for doing this is they get to go to another company and get paid more. Now they're going to
right.
Now they're going to be over at, you know, Chevy, or, you know, like Werner von Braun. Mm-hmm. Then he's helping with the U.S. space program after, you know, bombing a whole bunch of cities all over Europe.
All right, so check this out. If you're a former Tesla employee, now a Rivian employee, how do you feel about Elon Musk in this situation with the 26% drop? Do you care? How do you feel?
I'd be laughing.
Right?
Yeah.
What's your mindset?
I'd be like, good.
You think any of these 70 people knew Tesla was dirty like this?
I'm sure they did.
I'm sure somebody knew.
But the thing is, see, the thing though is, it's not just Musk that was dirty. They're dirty.
And it's a dirty game. They're all in it.
It's a dirty game. So then, this is exactly the point. It's just not Hitler that was bad. It was a whole bunch of other people that were bad along with him.
Right. They're all bad. They all knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
All right.
These were not dumb people. I mean, these are some of the best and brightest that our society and our schools have produced.
This is true. So, guys, once again, here's the irony. Mm-hmm. Oh, God, I'm sorry.
No, that our world has produced. Because, you know, Elon Musk is from South Africa. I mean, and Canadian. You know,
how's he Canadian? He has a South African accent. How's he Canadian?
I thought he lived in Canada for a while.
Probably did, but he has a South African accent. Yeah. To me,
but these
wherever your accent is, that's where you're from. Because that's your environment influenced you. Well, at least when you were growing up. But anyway.
Yeah, but all these people are brilliant. That's the point.
Yeah, they are, definitely. Can't argue that. So I think 26% is malicious. I think it's evil. I think it's fraud. And I think it's a jailable offense. Because we're talking about people all over the world are buying these cars. And they've been lied to.
I mean, it would really suck if you set out from where we are right now to head down to San Diego. Get stuck.
Dude, it just dropped 26%. I don't know what happened.
You can't make it, and you're just charging for a while.
Stuck in that little gap between Temecula and San Diego. Interestingly enough, another flaw in Teslas, you may talk about this in another video, maybe when we go live. A guy just died in a Tesla. Battery died, couldn't open the windows, died. Couldn't open the door. Yeah, this just happened. Here, pull it up real quick.
Well, for those of you Tesla owners, make sure you keep a hammer in your car.
I know.
Because we don't want that to happen to babies, dogs, or adults.
No one.
No one.
He couldn't get out. Let's pull it up.
I don't know.
So this is another story.
He must have been pretty old too, because
let me open this up. Sorry, this is 2019, but there's another one. A man died in a burning Tesla because its futuristic doors wouldn't open. That's one. There's another one that just happened last week. Here's August 2nd.
Oh, there you go.
This one didn't die, but one died just recently. Arizona man was trapped in his Tesla on a 100-degree day. Here's how to get out.
I never even thought about that.
Yeah, I couldn't open the doors. Quote, I couldn't lower the windows. Rick Megason, 73-year-old resident, and he's 73, so that's boo. The computer was dead, so I couldn't open the glove box. I couldn't open anything. This is insane. This is insane.
So
it's a coffin at that point.
You just need to have Velcro straps for that hammer that are attached underneath your seat so you can grab it and bust a window.
I know. Well, let me go to Google because this isn't.
That's horrible.
There's one where a guy just died. Anyway, guy trapped in Tesla. Let's see. 4 weeks ago.
Man gets trapped in hot. Right there.
There it is. August 3rd. Wait, a battery dies. That's battery dies. All right. We'll get back to it, guys. I can't find it at the moment, but we'll get back to it. If you want to search it, you can. Want to move on here. So basically, the irony is Elon Musk allegedly is dirty. His employees are dirty. It's a dirty game. He sets traps for other companies, which is business. He lies to his consumers, which is fraud.
Yep.
And
but he does care about the environment.
But at least he cares about the environment. I'll give him that. All right, so let's get into some questions real quick. Just some general questions about Tesla. Why does Tesla do so well? What do you think?
Well, they're still the first ones in the market. It's kind of like Apple. They have a huge amount of people using their products. Or if I was buying an electric car right now, I would probably buy a Tesla, despite everything. Because,
even with the 26% drop?
Yeah, because I would expect the same thing from the other companies too. So that's the first thing. Second thing is I would expect that it would be cheaper to fix a Tesla because at this point they really haven't changed how their cars look or whatever it is. So if you need replacement parts, it's probably a lot easier to find them for a Tesla.
Maybe so.
Than other vehicles.
I get a Rivian.
A Rivian's a lot more expensive though. So then
the top of the lines are.
Well, no, even the cheapest one.
What's the base one?
The base one is going to be $74,000 to $75,000.
I do the Rivian. I mean, excuse me, not the Rivian, the Lucid. I do the Lucid. Is that what
that's even
about?
more expensive.
What's the base? I know the base Lucid was like $89,000.
Yeah, that's because
I would
when
do
you look
that
at over the cheapest Tesla you can buy, and we'll get into that in a bit, is about $40,000.
But it's a Model 3. I would never buy that. It's too small for me. But when it comes to full-size sedan, which is you're talking about Model S for a Tesla, I do the Lucid because it has better range. Yeah. And I don't speed anyway. I drive 65. Yeah. You know, so I do the Lucid.
Well,
here's our time for the show. So
with that 65, if you're driving 65 and you have 500 miles of range, that means you probably get like 415 still, which isn't bad.
And Lucid's not caught up in any scandals, guys, with mileage and range. Tesla's. Let me look at the price for Lucid real quick, and then we're gonna move on. But why does Tesla do so well?
Because they're the most. They're as kind of a status symbol. People still view them as a luxury car, but they're really not. I mean, in terms of electric cars, they're probably more like a Toyota Camry at this point.
They are $82,000 for a Lucid. I do a Lucid. I just think at this price point, you're getting a full-size car.
And they also have ultra-fast charging. You can get to 300 miles in 21 minutes. That's not bad.
I think Lucid. I think these are. And this guy came from Tesla.
Yeah.
He makes a car that's more powerful. Gets better. It's better engineered, and it has actual real-life luxury instead of just a desk with an iPad on top of it, which is what the Model 3 is. I've seen them on the road. They're beautiful cars. I'd rather have a Lucid, to be honest. But anyway, I think they don't. Now, why does Tesla do so well? Tesla created a cult, guys. And the way they started off with the cult, I think when you look at the Model S, Tesla started off with the Model S.
Yep.
Who started buying Teslas first?
Very wealthy people.
Doctors, dentists, lawyers. Whenever you have, okay, let me give you guys something real quick. This is actually biblical business psychology from the Bible, or psychology of money from the Bible. It's in the book of Proverbs. Amazing knowledge.
Wisdom literature.
Amazing. Check this out. It says, the rich have many friends. The poor is hated even by his neighbor. The rich have many friends. The poor is hated even by his neighbor. So using that, when people are buying expensive Model S's, everyone wants to be their friend. Everyone sees them as cool. You admire them. People you want to be friends with, you admire them in some way or another, right? So what Tesla did was they created a cult. They elevated the brand to a luxury brand. That's why they were constantly comparing it to Mercedes and BMW and benchmarking it. And oh, look, here we are. So it's good. It's business. It's what you do. They created a brand and it worked. And I think whenever you're creating a luxury brand, you have to start with, whenever you're creating a brand that you want to have value, you have to start with your luxury car first. If Tesla has started out with a Model 3.
Well, it's because you have enough profit margin on those cars. And
that too.
And even then, he was still losing money, but that was what the general idea was.
But it's to create an image as well.
Yeah.
Because if they would have started out with the Model 3, what would have happened? Model 3 is their best seller.
By far.
Model S isn't selling squat right now.
Yeah.
Model 3 is the moneymaker. But if they had started out with a Model 3, Tesla wouldn't have had the image that it has now.
Well, they also wouldn't have been able to sell the Model 3 at that price. They would have had to charge more for it.
Yeah.
But
in terms of image and in terms of creating prestige around a brand, they had to have started off with an expensive car.
Correct.
Which is why Lucid is starting off with luxury cars. They're introducing their SUV next, which is nice looking.
That's going to be great.
It's nice looking.
I mean, I haven't seen a picture of it, but that would be...
Let's pull it up.
Be nice. Because people don't want cars.
Well, sedans are coming back.
They are?
It's changing, yeah. Sedans are coming back. And the Japanese sedan market is proving that. So full-size sedans are coming back in Japan. Nissan, Toyota, they're proving that model. So it works. So I was actually surprised when I saw that article. I was like, whoa, and they showed the numbers. So there's a little bit of fatigue when it comes to
crossovers
and stuff. Everyone has them. I have a sedan. I like my sedan. I've had an SUV. Here it is. It's called the Lucid Gravity. Okay, so take a look at this real quick. So here's the prices. Base model touring, 120. You have to start with prestige. It's got to have all the bells and whistles. So here's another picture. And guys, I'll try to put these pictures up online. I'll try to put these pictures up so you can, or you could just Google, here's the back.
Yeah.
It's a good looking car. Anyway, that's a good looking SUV. So Tesla created a cult. Let's move on to the next question. Tesla's build quality. Now you said you would still buy a Tesla.
I would.
Which one would you buy?
I would buy a Model 3.
You get the 3?
I would get the 3.
Okay. I wonder if the 3 was plagued with the mileage issues. Was it plagued?
Probably.
Probably.
I mean, probably.
But you wouldn't take it on a long trip, would you? Just drive around town?
I would. Yeah. I don't have the requisite patience
to deal with the charging.
To deal with the charging. Like I would get something for local driving. I think that makes sense, especially here in California, where we're
That's what Mike does.
paying $5 a gallon.
Yeah, $5.29 for me.
The thing with Mike's car is, I think it should be a little bigger. That's a little too tiny.
The i3, yeah.
Because I would legitimately be concerned about being in an accident with a vehicle that size.
That's true. That's a good concern. I respect what Tesla's done. But I wouldn't get the Model 3. I wouldn't get the Tesla. I would probably I'd wait and get one of the other electric cars that are coming out.
The other thing, I'm really cheap. I'd probably consider buying one of the like 2014s or 2015s with the lifetime supercharging.
Oh,
and then
I think that's going away.
And then, it's gone away. It's been.
Oh, it's gone. Yeah.
So then I would try changing.
Is it grandfathered in?
Yeah, I would change the batteries out, even if it costs $20,000, and then never have to deal with it again.
Gotcha. The battery's expensive, by the way.
It's about $25,000.
It's expensive. That's way more expensive than I think it should be. But anyway. All right, so we've gone over this point. Tesla comparing themselves to ICE. All right, so I guess our next step is to move into our top 5.
Yeah,
we got top five. All right, guys, we're gonna move into our top 5. We'll be right back.
Okay, guys, we've got our top 5 most affordable electric vehicles that are available right now. And actually, we've got 6, and we've got an honorable mention. So
yeah, we threw in 2 extra for you guys.
Yeah,
because we're altruistic and nice.
Yeah,
kind.
Truly altruistic.
Just like Elon Musk.
Okay, number 1.
All right, number 1, Chevy Bolt. If you guys like American, I have a friend who bought one of these. He actually liked this Bolt a lot. But a Chevy Bolt starts at a little less than 28,000. You get about 250 miles of range, and this is perfect for people who just want to get around town, go to work. Average trip to work and back is 40 miles, so this is perfect for people.
This is perfect. I've got a friend who has one, and he loves it. And they actually have an EUV one, which is just slightly a little larger as well.
I've seen that one. It looks pretty good. I don't know if I'd buy it, but it does look pretty good.
It's actually one of the cheapest. It's the cheapest one that you can find right now.
Yeah, I mean,
because you could buy the cheapest one for, I think it's about 27 and change.
Okay, all right.
So,
I mean, it doesn't have the prestige of a Tesla, but let's move on. Anyway, go ahead. Number 2.
Number 2, a Nissan Leaf. So they've been around for a long time. Now they have better range. When the first ones came out, I think they only had about 90 miles of range. And my cousin had one. I think she would be lucky if she got 65 miles a lot of the time.
Talk about range anxiety.
I thought it was a pretty worthless purchase at the time, and I just don't know why anyone would ever buy a vehicle that would have.
It's a glorified golf cart, to be honest.
It is. Yeah. It is.
You can change out the batteries, though. I've heard.
But that's different. The new Leafs are a lot better. They start at about $28,000.
They're nice
and
too.
They have about 212 miles of range. So that's really decent now.
That's really, honestly, what the Tesla has. Because now, if you guys haven't seen the show, you watch the show. You'll see Tesla's caught up in some stuff. All right, number 3, Hyundai Kona Electric starts at 33,500, gets about 258 miles of range. Keep in mind, that's great range for people who are daily drivers. Most people aren't using electric cars for road trips.
So with these first 3, the Chevy Bolt, the Nissan Leaf, and the Hyundai Kona, these are all kind of smaller cars.
Right.
The next one, number 4, is a Volkswagen ID4. This starts at about $39,000 and has anywhere from 208 to 275 miles of range, depending on which
motor setup you get. Okay.
So, and that's a lot bigger of a vehicle. I would probably look into something like that.
If you need a little bit more space and it's like a family type vehicle.
Yeah, even if I was driving by myself, just because there's some crazy people on the road, and I definitely don't want to get hit by them. Well, I think that's inevitable at some point, but
so for safety. For safety reasons.
For safety.
All right, cool. Number 5, Kia Niro EV starts at 39,500, 253 miles of range.
And this vehicle is very similar to number 3, the Hyundai Kona. They're kind of sisters vehicles. Yeah. I don't know what the differences are between the two of them.
It's like Ford and Mercury.
Yeah.
If you guys remember Mercury went out of business, right? They shut them down. And a couple honorable mentions. We have 2.
Yeah, number 6, we would have the Tesla Model 3. This starts at $40,000. It's a little bit more expensive than, say, Kia Niro, but supposedly has 272 miles of range. You know, you might need to subtract about 60 miles.
Watch our full show. Watch our full show. All right, cool. And the Mini Cooper starts at 31,000, but you get 109 miles of range.
Yeah, and the reason we put that in as an honorable mention is because it basically is a glorified golf cart. I mean, 109 miles of range. That's probably going to end up being 85 miles of range if you have your AC on. Yeah. It's probably not the right choice.
And that's for someone who literally lives in a city and they don't really go anywhere. They just kind of drive around the city. Maybe like
they need something that's easy to park.
They need something that's easy to park. I think that would work for, like, if you're, let's say you're in LA County. Let's say you live in LA and you just drive around a little bit. You really don't. Maybe you take Uber most of the time on the weekends, and you drive to work a little bit. I think a Mini Cooper
car would have to be $15,000 for me to even think about it.
Exactly. That range is that's range anxiety right there. I'd probably go with the Bolt. The Bolt is probably going to be your best bet. But for styling and you know, the Mini Cooper would be the range. Anyway, we done? Yeah. Wrap it up.
Done.
All right, guys. That's our top 5 most affordable EV vehicles available now. Here we go, guys. Welcome back. This is our segment called the Daily Stupid, where we cover stupid news. Now, this is interesting. So, quote unquote, hip hop artist Iggy Azalea, quote unquote rapper Iggy Azalea was kicked off the stage after splitting her pants. Splitting them open, performing at an event in Saudi Arabia. Now, I have a few ideas why she may have split her pants, and I think you guys may know as well. Let's just say there's a lot of junk in that trunk, and all of it's surgically enhanced. So, the rapper who headlined the esports event Gamers 8 in Saudi Arabia yesterday had an embarrassing moment when she split her pants open on stage. But guess what, guys? This wasn't her first time. We'll get into that in a second. She has a habit of splitting her pants. You know, once again, too much junk in that trunk. In the middle of performing Work, I guess it's a song called Work, Iggy's black latex pants split down one of the sides, revealing her thigh and leg. Ooh, oh no. But guess what? She's in Saudi Arabia.
That is the problem.
That's the problem. So the problem isn't that her pants split, because if this happened in the States, she'd be fine, or in Australia, she'd be fine, where she's from. But it's in Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia doesn't play that. Iggy said the show couldn't go on. She shared in a since deleted Instagram post that she had to end the show after the incident. So what happened was, basically, here's her IG post. I'll put it on screen. Saudi Arabia, please know to everyone at the show tonight, in all caps, I love you. And I am so, with 1,000 O's, sorry, I wasn't able to finish my show. Teary face emoji. It's not the promoter who put on the show's fault, so show them kindness. She explained it was due to the authorities who prevented her from continuing to perform. But any rational person would say, well, why couldn't you just put on another pair of skimpy, tight, hoe pants? And she asked, well, I did, but I also said, quote, ladies, make some noise. It's a woman's world. And apparently that sent the authorities over the edge. LOL. I can understand why she would delete this post, because the Saudi authorities don't play that. They're very, very strict. I mean, you're talking about a place where women walk around in big black curtains. I mean, called a burqa, where I've been to Malaysia. Just a quick story. I've been to Malaysia, and I saw, a lot of the Saudis will go on vacation there. I'm in Malaysia. I'm in Penang. Beautiful place. If you guys ever get a chance, go to Penang. Beautiful, beautiful hotel called the Flamingo Hotel. Look it up. I was on the 14th floor overlooking the beach. And I see a Saudi guy, tank top, Prada sunglasses, shorts, barefoot. Right next to him is a ninja wearing all black, blacked out. And I'm like, you guys are messed up. I wanted to just tell him, he said what's up to me. He was like, hey, what's up? And I'm like, dude, you're messed up, man.
Who's that bed sheet with you?
Yeah, who's the bed sheet? Your bed sheet's walking. What's going on? I think it's really messed up, but hey, that's how they want to live their life. So
it's the Black Casper.
The Black Casper. That's exactly what she was. I could see her feet. I mean, I'm surprised that wasn't a sin to them, but I could see her feet, and I could tell she was kind of
I think
embarrassed.
It's only a sin when you get up above the ankle.
Oh, is that what it is?
I'm just kidding.
Okay. I know they can't show the ankles because that's considered egregious.
Licentious.
It's very licentious, very evil. Now, Iggy Azalea's other 8 years ago, she had the same situation happen to her, but malfunction of her wardrobe. But this one happened at a bar mitzvah. Okay, happened at a bar mitzvah. And if you look at some of the comments under the YouTube video, one guy says he was there when it happened and, you know, whatever. But anyway, she has a habit of having these wardrobe malfunctions every so often. And my only question is, could it be the junk in the trunk, the extra junk? Anyway, that's what happens when you wear tight clothing.
Get some German reinforced jeans or something.
You know, get some steel lacing. Anyway, that's my daily stupid. I think it's pretty stupid that she tried to go on with the performance with that leg split. That's insane. But, and then making that comment, you know, it's a woman's world. That's insane. In Saudi Arabia, you're lucky you're not wearing a curtain out there. To think that you could be showing skin, leg skin like that, that's pretty stupid. But anyway, daily stupid. What's yours?
Yep. Well, mine is about a guy who was fleeing. This is actually my title. Man on scooter fleeing drug bust in New York City dies after undercover cop threw a cooler at him and he crashed into a parked car. Okay, so I want you guys to understand what's happening. There is a man who is selling drugs. He's a 30-year-old full-grown man selling drugs.
With kids.
And he then sells drugs to an undercover police officer who then attempts to arrest him. As he's escaping, he jumps onto a motorcycle on a sidewalk and is racing down the sidewalk. Another cop grabs a cooler that a man has and throws it at him, hits him, and this man, Eric Dupree, loses control of his motorcycle and then drives it into a Jeep that is a parked Jeep.
And of course he's not wearing a helmet.
You know, I doubt he was wearing a helmet, but ends up dying. They gave him CPR, but they couldn't resuscitate him. And it says the fatal impact from the cooler that was filled with soda cans caused the suspect to lose control of his scooter and strike a parked Jeep.
You know, go ahead.
So, what we need to do here, Bard, is we need to start a campaign to stop cooler on criminal violence.
You know, we gotta have cooler control.
Cooler control.
More cooler control, you know.
And so I wanted to read some of the quotes or some of the comments from people about this because the police officer who threw the offending cooler, the killer cooler.
That first comment was crazy.
It was a killer cooler. He threw the killer cooler and now he's been suspended pending investigation into the violence that was perpetrated on the criminal who is possibly sending fentanyl-laced drugs to kill people.
Oh, that's fine. Fentanyl's great.
I'm going to read you a couple of the comments. Number one of this commenter said, "Why don't we have stricter cooler laws in this country?"
I agree. I mean, coolers are dangerous.
Apparently, we've got a killer cooler, and we're going to have a picture of that killer cooler so that you guys can all see it.
Yeah, take a look at this. Put it
Another person says, "Well, the officer stole the cooler. He should be arrested."
I agree. He should lose his job for stealing the cooler.
And the soda.
And the soda.
Okay, another comment.
Hope it's a felony.
The cop couldn't have known that by throwing a cooler at the suspect, it would result in his death. This is another case of a person committing a crime, fleeing arrest, ending up dead, and people blaming the cop. Pretty soon, Biden will make a law stating that if a criminal doesn't want to be arrested, then we just have to let him go.
I agree with that law.
That way the criminal is physically safe to commit more crimes.
I agree. I mean, criminals should be free to commit more crimes. It's just,
I mean, they don't have enough freedoms right now.
I mean, that's what the bail system's for. I mean, bail you out, get back out there and do some more.
Cashless bail.
Yeah, cashless bail. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm staying corrected. So,
another
this happened in New York, right?
Next comment. We need to demand police nationwide be trained in non-lethal cooler techniques.
Right. Like if he had thrown it at the tires, maybe he would have just flipped over the Jeep.
Okay, the next one.
Been alive today, you know?
The cop's reaction of throwing a heavy object violently at an individual is totally uncalled for. His life was not being threatened, and he could have caught up to him and arrested him elsewhere later.
That's right. He's on a motorcycle. He could have ran up and caught up to him. I mean,
this guy,
RoboCop.
Yep. This guy killed a kid who was just selling a little dope. Jesus, it's very sad.
What's wrong with a little fentanyl? Fentanyl will never hurt anyone.
Okay, next one here. The officer did nothing wrong. The man fleeing caused his own death. No reasonable person could have foreseen the outcome.
You know, I disagree. That officer intended to kill him with the cooler.
Yeah, I mean,
that's why he didn't pull his gun. You know,
exactly. You can't pull your gun. You can't tase someone, you know, because he might have a heart attack, something else. But
you wanted it to be a cold case.
The next one, your cold case. Cooler ban in effect. Cooler-free zones coming. Coolers that hold more than a 6-pack ban, unless it's Bud Light.
If it's Bud Light, 17-pack. I mean, or 17. Yep. You know, one in the. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
Finally,
cooler bans. Let's ban them.
The last comment. This guy was putting people in danger, driving on a sidewalk like that. He needed to be stopped to prevent any injuries to bystanders. This time, the cop was absolutely in the right.
You know what? I disagree. He was on a scooter. Scooters are harmless.
Yeah, unless they run you over.
Let's put a picture of the scooter on the screen.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a dirt bike. Oh, my bad.
It's a dirt bike. And imagine if that dirt bike ran over a 4-year-old or 5-year-old.
And then it'd be the dirt bike's fault.
Yeah.
Not the guy's fault. The dirt bike's to blame. Just like when someone shoots the gun, it's the gun's fault. That's why we got to get rid of guns.
Well, that's why we got to get rid of coolers now.
And we got to get rid of dirt bikes. It's the dirt bike's fault.
Anyways, guys, that is it for the Daily Stupid. We hope you appreciate it and can get some enjoyment from some of these otherwise sad stories.
Yes. We hope you enjoyed that. And guys, that's the end of our podcast.
Yep.
And as always, guys, thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Hey guys, this is Bard. Thanks for watching our podcast. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We're trying to hit our goal of 1,000 subscribers. Help us get to our goal. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next one.